So please just look at these reasons very deeply, because it's a matter of life and death these days. If you are getting into this institution, a lot of people say, I want a partner for some stability and security. Marriage is seen as this institution of providing a sense of settled life, providing a sense of stability, a safe identity and safety of sorts. But a lot of people, parents, use guilt parenting. They borrow guilt because they want, from a parent's perspective, they want a social validation from society that their kid is not a misfit, and they want this relief from responsibility, because in a lot of households girls are treated as like these burdens of sort, and when they're just let go in other households. Okay, back again with another video. Some long time, but there's some things happening. So yesterday I was watching a video on the channel of Mrs. Deepika Narayan Bhardwaj, and she had uploaded this why men like Atul Subhash or Dash. So I'll also attach the link in the description. You can check it out. But then I thought, like, this whole institution of marriage, started thinking about it, that why people get into it out of unawareness, I feel, because right now marriage in India seems not a conscious choice. It's like a event, a checklist of sorts, wherein one goes to college, one goes to school, one gets a safe and stable job, grinds in it for 10 to 15 years, makes someone else rich, and then the next event in a checklist sort of thing would come: marriage, kids, retirement, living like a person who has no spine, living like this scared person who cannot question his or her own choices. The system that he is in part of cannot question anything because he has mouths to feed and lives to take care of. And right now, you see a shifting trend that most people don't decide to marry, they marry out of compulsions or due to fear, because of their age, pressure, what would people say, and a lot of other things. You ask any average person that why is it that they are getting married, and you'll hear very confident answers. Things like, bro, my parents are forcing me, bro, she wants it fast, things like that. And these same bros are standing in courts after 4 5 years, fighting like 10 15 cases, mental health being ruined. The only options that they consider is either they should self delete, run someplace else, because the society treats men as these criminals without even hearing their side of the story. And our law thinks that nothing bad can happen to men. So the laws are not even structured for providing the sanity of a male. So this video talks mostly about if you're planning to marry, because a lot of people marry out of their need to have S. I feel a lot of simps also marry people who have no spine, who just want to be pushed into certain institutions. And if this so-called lovely institution is creating so many problems, we should at least question it. Think that, does it make any long-term sense? Because the root of critical thinking is, whenever you question anything, people usually attack the question, whereas the question just deepens the loopholes of that particular institution, idea, or whatever it is. It should be an opportunity to deepen the foundation of whatever loopholes you have, but people usually start attacking people and thinkers and all of that. So anyhow, coming back to this video, the most predominant reason which I have seen is because it's the right age. I am 28 now, I'm 30. It's time. They haven't invested any time on becoming self-aware, doing a sort of sadhana to know who their being is, what is it that really matters to them. Age then becomes this justification sort of thing. They not even honestly tell that a lot of people are unable to court girls. There's this burning desire to have this, but it is all just cloaked under this facade of it's the right age. What the hell is the right age? Age is also passing to take these experiences of traveling, involve yourself in certain sorts of sports and things like that. But I feel age is not a reason, it's a fear mechanism created by the society so that you can crumble due to a lot of fear that is being thrown on you. No one asks these questions that, am I emotionally regulated? Is there a sort of self-awareness? Can I resolve conflicts healthily? Or I'll just run away or beat the shit out of my partner? Do I really know how to be alone? Be very comfortable in my own solitude? Do I even know that what is it that I want long term? All these questions are just pushed out on the side because these are hard. It's like facing a mirror, and no one wants to face a mirror. So yesterday I was having a conversation with one of my friends and he had quoted Ghalib. So I'm just paraphrasing it. He said that my whole life I wasted cleaning the mirror, but in reality I found that what needed cleaning was my face because there was a lot of dust on it. The only question which I feel people ask is, am I late? Will I get the right partner at this age? If age was really the reason, why do all these horrendous things exist right now? Because if we take this logic that the more older a person is, the more wise he is, and things like that. Why don't I see any happiness in people who are marrying late? All I see is just resentment, and even when they have kids and things like that, who are just 5 to 10 years old, they just abuse their partners, abuse their kids, and a lot of weird realities exist, which points to a more subtle fact that emotional immaturity is very prevalent and it just destroys a lot of healthy relationships, even if there ought to be any. It's only the sense of clarity that you have in life, a sense of emotional clarity that sustains any relationship for that matter, regardless of age. Two best friends can have a very healthy relationship at 17, 20, provided they're very clear that what is it that bonds us. And I've seen that age does not prepare any human. It's only hardships and pains that makes a person, or a man a man. Because through hardships you become self-aware. And marrying because of age is like you're bullying yourself because of these so-called compulsions of society, your own impulses, your own fears, desires, and whatnot. So please just look at these reasons very deeply because it's a matter of life and death these days if you're getting into this institution. The second thing which I see is this thing of comparison that everyone else is married. My bros and sisters are married. What the hell? If your bros and sisters are taking this decision to jump off a cliff, would you do that or would you stop them from making that decision because they are your technically bros and sisters? So I've seen a lot of people telling, bro, friends are married, colleagues are married, Instagram is full of weddings. So we must also follow. Our number should also come now. We must also look like this cool bride or groom or whatnot. Psychologically speaking, this is just social proof because you're so fearful of standing on your own 2 feet, having a separate identity. You just want to fit in as you have done for your entire life, either in your school, either in your college. No originality, nothing. There's not a personal conviction in a lot of people that, yeah, finally I feel I'm emotionally aware, or let's say mature or self aware to the point that I can take responsibility of lives around me. A lot of humans fear being left behind. Who has made that race in the first place? They never question that. They fear being judged by some idiots around them. They fear being the odd one out. Marriage then becomes this way to blend in, not to build something meaningful because they wouldn't be invited by their so called friends on their parties. If that friendship was real, no matter how many situations might have changed, that person should have prioritized that friendship. Isn't it best that you just get to know the true colors of your friends when certain situations just go haywire? Friendship is that one intimate bond wherein you can just be fully yourself without putting a facade and you expect the person to just be with you in your tough times and good times. But these days, I see that friendships are just made on benefits. A better word for it would be acquaintances, not true friendship, because you're then corrupting this whole beautiful relationship of friendship per se. So, if other people's choices were valid reasons, you should also copy their careers, follow the same logic to the hilt. So, you should also copy their partners, their compromises, their likes, the type of lives they're leading, their silent misery, their way of living in life. But you don't want to copy anything of that. You want your individuality. But I don't know why, with such a delicate decision in your life, you're the first one to jump into the fire. A lot of people I've seen just want to copy this ceremony of being looked at like a groom, like a bride, or whatnot, but don't want to copy the consequences or the responsibilities that come with it. Marriage is not a trend, it's a daily psychological contract which you make with your partner to be in your tough times, in your good times, and a lot of battles which are fought behind closed rooms. Not a lot of us know those battles, and those ruins life. Why do you want to take these decisions so hastily? If your reason is everyone else is doing it, then your marriage is outsourced to the crowd, just like every other decision in your life is, be it your career, be it the common streams that you want to take for education and things like that. Another common reason which I see is for emotional support and companionship, really. A lot of people say, I don't want to be alone. I need someone. Life is hard alone. Again, you're outsourcing your responsibility of fixing your emotional mess to the outside person, be it a single person or the party. A lot of people don't want true companionship, they just want relief from loneliness, boredom, and internal chaos. A good pattern to see is you might have seen couples, one likes to just let the TV run in the background. A lot of people, when they're going to a drive, they want some sort of subtle music running, not genuine silence, because silence makes them uncomfortable, makes them question their own choices. So it isn't really about wanting companionship, it's about fulfilling the inner void or hollowness within. Why do you want another person to regulate your emotions, to distract you of your higher purposes in life, and to absorb your anxiety in whatever way it is? Because then two people are just coming together to be emotional slaves of each other rather than being genuine mature leaders coming together in a relationship. See, a hard fact is, if you cannot sit alone with your anxiety, handle silence, understand how to self regulate yourself during stress, you're not really ready for any relationship, because marriage would not fix it, it would amplify it. Because now you're just throwing all of your mess to the other party, it's coming back, and there's like a to and fro happening. It becomes like this. I have talked a lot about this in my D channel. Marriage is like this thing which should amplify or make your pursuit of purpose 10x or 20x more solidified. But what happens is you just distract all of that time to get into these petty little battles. It's like you're finding a cylinder of oxygen of sorts for your emotion. Healthy companionship, because that's the essence of marriage, comes from trust. Trust is built on vulnerability, and vulnerability can only happen when there are two emotionally independent people coming together to build something of value, choosing each other because their partner is the best, not clinging to each other like some validation maniacs, freaks, or whatnot. So a lot of people enter marriage to escape loneliness, but it usually just creates two lonely people living together, which then end up cheating on each other, which then end up in court cases and a lot of other things. The next reason is my favorite. A lot of people say, I want a partner for some stability and security. Marriage is seen as this institution of providing a sense of settled life, providing a sense of stability, a safe identity and safety of sorts. But this, I feel, is a misunderstanding of security, because if you go a little bit deeper, what most people need are financial backups, let's say social legitimacy of sorts, so that they are not left behind, and a predictability of sorts in their life, which eventually they'll get bored of, because our brain craves novelty. Marriage does not create security, it's your own competence which does that, because the more competent you are, all these problems, your emotional mess, the social mess, the financial mess, would be sorted, because you're chasing this purpose of sorts. A marriage can not ever protect you from the emotional neglect that you're doing to yourself, your weird spending habits, your financial irresponsibility, and the growing resentment that you have, which then leads to power struggles between the two of you. Marriages, in a lot of cases, increases the instability, brings a lot of legal stress, a lot of emotional dependency, which is not healthy for the long term. A lot of people suppress their core intentions, they don't conflict head on, and then that weird suppressed conflict find expression in very weird ways. If you're like really unstable alone, marriage won't ever stabilize you. It's like you lock yourself into this long term contract, ruining your life, your parents' life, maybe your partner's life. But these days the laws are more biased towards women, nothing exists for men. For a married man, it's very hard. So if you watch that video after this, I'll just give you a brief disclaimer. In that video, he mentions that a person, let's say if he's wanting divorce, a person usually has 15 cases, 10 to 15 cases. I read that there are close to 5 crore cases currently pending in the judiciary, out of which 60 lakh to 70 lakh cases are just revolving around marriages and things like that. The rest are on property disputes, theft, and a lot of other things. So from an extrapolation perspective, all the property disputes, even if they're like half of them on marriages, so easily those are like 85 to 90 lakh cases just on marriages. So do you want to have the legal cost just because you could not control your lust and get into these long term battles wherein you'll just lose the ability to find yourself from a long term perspective? Now another reason I see, which is very common, is because my parents want it. A lot of parents say, we sacrifice for you, this is our responsibility, people will talk, So a lot of people comply because they are attached to their parents. There's not any genuine love, because if there was genuine love, they would know when to push back or fight back for their own individual, let's say, reality of sorts. But not a lot of people do that. But anyhow, I made a video on the mother son trap and the daddy issues. But essentially, a lot of people or parents use guilt parenting. They borrow guilt because they want, from your parents' perspective, they want a social validation from society that their kid is not a misfit, and they want this relief from responsibility. Because in a lot of households, girls are treated as like these burdens of sort, and when they are just let go in other households, they just feel a sense of relief from their responsibility. And for a boy as well, because if one is married, they won't be quote unquote dependent on their parents in general. And it just helps them to die in relief, face their final breaths, because they are under this assumption that they have now a control over the uncertainties that life may throw. They are just running from this script which was predominant back in the 70s, 60s, but not right now. A lot of parents use this pretense of care which is disguised as fear. Please be honest with yourself that a lot of our parents would die within the next 10, 15, or 20 years. That's the reality. You just need to accept that, and they won't live your marriage. You will. All the court cases, if your parents are touching 70, 75, do you want your parents to be standing next to criminals in courts and things like that? If you do, please go ahead. Because if you make these decisions out of this compulsion, your life would be ruined. They won't observe the conflict that is happening day in and day out, the emotional void and hollowness that you feel, the mismatched values. There would be no genuine compatibility, but your parents won't understand that. Marriage is done to fulfill your parents' unfinished emotional business, wherein they want these social validation, these sorts of things, creates a sort of resentment within your heart towards your parents, which then finds expression or finds an outlet on your partner. And then this creates a lot of instability. All of this just surfaces years later. Either you get major traumatic diseases because a lot of stress which you take up in your mind, all of it is manifested in your body. And a lot of us don't like doing exercises or anything for that matter to keep us fit. We just want aesthetic fitnesses. We don't want genuine fitnesses of like our heart, body, mind, and soul. So I understand there might be a sense of gratitude towards your parents, a sense of love, if I can use the term, towards your parents. But it does not mean that you surrender your entire life to them. A forced yes today becomes a silent, why did I do this? I was a complete effing idiot tomorrow. And then all of those things just creates a sort of resentment within your own heart, which is not good from a long-term perspective. Now comes the lovebird part section, that a lot of people jump into this institution of marriage with the belief that love will figure it out. Love is such a divine thing. People believe love is enough, things will adjust, problems are temporary. See, love is an emotion, a chemical imbalance that is happening within you because of your hormones. Because we are in a certain age and Mother Nature wants us to procreate. Marriage is this fixed structure wherein the real life comes in. Love does not teach to resolve conflict, a sort of financial, you can say, alignment, that what if you have kids, all these expenses to be taken care of. A lot of healthy sexual communication as well that is required, because a lot of marriages break on sexual incompatibility as well. People think that this emotion of love that we are feeling, without building these real life genuine skills, like, it would just collapse. Your marriage which you're entering would just collapse if you put a little bit of stress onto it. A lot of marital issues exist because of poor communication, ego battles, and like, you did this, I did this, and all of that. And emotional immaturity, that's the core point. Love can happen to anyone. If you have a pet, quote unquote, you can love that pet with your whole heart, and that's an unconditional love, and that's the purest form of love. Right now, the love that we see in marriages is mostly transactional, so that we can fit into society. I understand love can start relationships, but these genuine skills of communicating properly, not bringing in your ego, sustains those relationships. And not a lot of people are emotionally self aware or wanting to work towards them, because we have been taught these scripts that love will fix everything, whether we are reckless, whether we can do anything to F up our life and whatnot. That's why these movies and these series are very popular, which just capitalizes on your lust and things like that. A lot of people say that they want to, if I extrapolate on this, they want to do it for children and having a family life. But like, on the onset, these might seem noble pursuits, but if there are alimony cases happening and things like that, the children is just ruined. His childhood is just stolen from him or her because of your greed. So I had heard one quote from one of my friends. He says that every child deserves a parent, but not every parent deserves a child. You cannot rob proper psychological sanity off from a child because of your greed. If you are so messed up, why are you ruining your child's life who would grow up with daddy issues, mother issues, and whatnot? Children are often used as substitutes of purpose because we haven't found true purpose in our own lives. People who lack a sort of direction, a sort of identity within their own being, a sort of genuine fulfillment, they try to extract meaning from parenting. So, in one of the podcasts that I did with the psychologist, Mr. Rajneesh, he says that a lot of people become parents or are living their life because of their children. There's not any genuine thing that is going on for them in their own personal life. Please understand that if you're broken from the inside, your children cannot ever fix you. They would inherit your wounds, whatever traumas you have. Unresolved conflicts that you have within your being, they won't just disappear after having these kids. They would just get suppressed, projected onto these poor little children and transmuted. It's a generational traumas when we talk about it. These are just transferred. A lot of people come to me, my one-on-one sessions. They talk that how their parents' traumas has ruined their identity. How, because of the fights that they saw in their early childhood, has made them so fearful of any conflict. And when there's like a healthy conflict that is needed in the world to stand up on your own 2 feet, a lot of us cannot do that because of these weird, shitty parenting that has happened for a lot of us in our households. So, healthy families, if I have to look at it, come from healthy individuals first, not the other way around. Using children to stabilize your marriage is very unfair to the child. Don't think from your lust, but the long-term consequences that come because of this. Now, another very important reason that people get married is they think that marriage will change me. So people hope that marriage will mature them. Marriage will reform the partner. How many times you have tried changing yourself since January 1st is coming? A lot of you would join gym only to quit within the first 7 to 10 days. You know how hard change is. How can you expect when you yourself cannot change yourself? How do you expect the other person to change you? Marriage does not change people. It reveals them under pressure because marriage is a stressful thing. There's a lot of daily negotiation that is happening. If someone is emotionally unavailable, addictive to a lot of things, let's say drugs, alcohol and whatnot, is very aggressive when he goes into those patterns and then starts becoming avoidant because there are two expressions. Either they become very aggressive, beat their partners, or they become very avoidant, or there are marital grapes happening. Your marriage would not cure you as a being. It will just remove their incentive to change because whenever, let's say, even if someone wants to feel that they want to change for the marriage, because you have created these weird patterns, expectations and weird behaviors, that they start seeing you with disgust. So a lot of change needs to happen before commitment. Whenever you're getting into any relationship, don't use relationships as crutches to fix yourself because then they would create long-term traumas. First fix yourself, see what is it that I want for my life, and then whatever people would want to come, they can come. But these institutions should not become crutches for your wrecked being. Let's be honest, if I have to conclude this, that most marriages happen because of fear of being alone, fear of societal judgment, fear of a lot of uncertainty that may come, this need within to be socially approved to the people around, and avoidance to do genuine self-work. Marriage becomes this shield of sorts. It's not like a conscious, responsible thing which you enter into. So that's a video wherein if you're thinking to get into this lovely institution, please do your research very well. Though ideally I think the highest love that you can give is self-love, wherein you're completely aware that what is it that you want to do. A good marriage is between, if I have to use the word, two Buddhas coming together. Two self-aware adults who are choosing growth and responsibility, choosing each other daily. Because for them, each of them is the highest, and on an individual level, both of them are functioning from their highest potential or highest being. Don't be people who are entering into this, making these decisions because you're afraid, because your tradition, culture says so, hoping that structure, a sort of structure will fix you. That would never ever happen. You know how hard it is. And if you go as a man into these institutions, the long-term cost is your life. You would just waste years on end, maybe 30-40 years, or you'll self-delete yourself. So if this question comes within your mind, that should I marry, I think a deeper question that you need to ask yourself is, are you even prepared to first see yourself clearly? If you cannot answer this honestly, that what is it that I want to do, then it is not a thing that you should just jump into recklessly, because you'll just jump into this hill and then there would be long-term consequences. So yeah, that was one video which I wanted to do. Let me know what you feel about it. I'll catch you in the next video with some more interesting insights. What have you learned from this video? And do write in the comment section what weaknesses have you broken. If you want a one-on-one session with me, feel free to reach out to me over my email, and I'll catch you soon. So yeah, this is Debashish Bindra from Debu Ki Dastak signing off. Cheers. Bye.